Hey guys, I welcome you all to the second video on plant tissue culture on this platform. So in this plant tissue culture concept, we will be studying regarding the callus induction and plant regeneration. So basically, the video is going to include the following contents. For example, we are going to see what is callus, then what is the principle of callus induction, then I will mention or I will give you a protocol that you can follow for the induction of callus in a plant, namely Clitoria ternatia. Okay, and then we will study some of the research perspectives, and finally I am going to mention the references which I have used for the preparation of video, and also you can use it for your study purpose. Okay, so before beginning, I just want to mention that the totipotency concept, which we know is very important in plant tissue culture, I have already prepared a separate video on that topic. Okay, I will mention the link in the description box. So do look at that video first and then come to this video. Okay, so now we will be beginning with the first point regarding what is callus. Basically, when we talk about a mature plant, when we see a mature plant, it consists of different organs, right? It consists of stems, it consists of roots, it consists of leaves, right? So in this case, you can see the plant is mature, right? And it is highly organized, right? The higher plant body is multicellular and is made of highly organized and differentiated structures. Like you can see in this case, the stem, leaves, roots, and etc. Right? So when we talk about the mature plant or the higher plant, you will see different parts. In this case, for example, if we look or if we took this leaf, the leaf is taken from a higher mature intact plant, right? And this leaf is simply mature leaf. Mature means the cells of the leaves are already differentiated. When I use the term differentiated, it means the cells that have already gained their function, right? Means the cells have already performed their function. They have already gained their function to form the leaf portion of the plant. Okay, so therefore we are mentioning it differentiated part of the plant. Okay, the cells of any differentiated part cannot divide. Okay, they simply cannot divide. The differentiated cells do not divide. Okay, this we study in developmental biology. The differentiated cells are those which have gained their function and they have lost their ability to divide. Therefore, you see that the cells of leaves or any part of the mature plant do not divide. Okay, so what generally happens in vitro condition or in laboratory condition, we take this mature leaf, we induce the mature leaf to revert back to its early stage. Okay, I'm repeating again. In this case, for example, in culture condition, you are going to simply revert the process. You are going to simply revert the process, means you are going to convert the differentiated cell into de-differentiated form. This de-differentiated form can be achieved by the use of certain phytohormones and the media. For example, Murashise and Skog media is the commonly used media, right? Nutrient media for plant tissue culture. So you are basically reverting back to its de-differentiated form. De-differentiated form is the opposite of differentiated form, means here the cells have the ability to divide. Okay, these cells can divide. These cells have no function, they can divide rapidly. Okay, in the presence of certain phytohormones. Okay, so after a division, after rapid proliferation, they generally form a mass of cells. Okay, generally the phytohormones which you are going to use are going to initiate signaling process in the mature cells in culture condition, right? So now I'm going to show you a picture for a clear view of what is callus. Okay, so I hope you understood this point. Okay, I have elaborated this point in the concept of totipotency. Okay, so now on the picture you can see that, for example, we have taken a mature plant and you have taken a small part of the mature plant or the mature leaf. Okay, you have excised the tissue. You have excised the leaf tissue. Okay, the tissue which you have excised, is organized, is having organized cell. It is multicellular and the cells in this case are completely differentiated, right? Now, when you will use this explant in culture condition means you are going to take a test tube, you are going to fill it with a particular MS media and you are going to fortify it with certain phytohormones, that is auxin and cytokinin. Remember, callus induction takes place when we use both the hormones, that is auxin and cytokinin, in equal concentration. Okay, so in culture condition, when you will incubate it in considering certain physical parameters like temperature, humidity, such kind of parameter, then light intensity. After incubation, what will happen? The phytohormones will play its role. They are going to revert the multicellular differentiated cells of the excised tissue to an unorganized proliferative mass of cell, right? So the de-differentiated form of the cells are converted to the differentiated forms of the cells, are reverted back to the de-differentiated forms, means the dividing form. Here, the auxin and cytokinin starts the signaling process in the cells. Signaling process in the cells in the sense, it means that they initiate or they causes the expression of certain genes which cause the cells to rapidly proliferate or rapidly multiply. And this results in the formation of unorganized mass of cells. Okay, and this is what callus means. You can see callus is uncontrolled, unorganized proliferative mass of cells. In this case, you are going to do the same thing. You are going to simply revert the cells from mature state to immature form, means from differentiated state to differentiated form, where they are going to multiply rapidly. Okay, so this is what callus means. What is the role of this callus? What you can do with this callus? You can use this particular callus for the regeneration of entire plantlet. For example, in this case, for the induction of callus, you have used auxin and you have used cytokinin in equal proportion. After the formation of callus, you can subculture it or you can use it for the regeneration of plantlet. For example, you will inoculate some part of the callus into a new culture tube and this culture tube will be fortified with hormone according to your desired results. Okay, for example, if you are concerned with the root induction, if you want to induce root in this particular callus, so you can simply fortify the media with high concentration of auxin. What will happen? The callus tissue in the presence of the media and in presence of auxin will be induced to form the root. Okay, if you want to perform shoot induction, you can use high concentration of cytokinin as compared to the auxin. Okay, so in this manner you can induce the shoot and root induction or the entire plantlet. Okay, the entire plantlet will be just same as the mother plant. Okay, I hope you got this concept. Moving on next, there are certain conditions, there are certain natural conditions which also causes the formation of callus. For example, in this case you can see a mature plant, if gets certain kind of wounds, okay, if certain kinds of wounds causes the exposure of the cells directly to the environment, right? For example, in this case you can see the leaves have got wounds. So this causes the natural formation of callus, means the cells at the area of wounds multiply and they simply form a callus which is named as wound callus. These wound callus are also the soft mass of unorganized parenchyma cells. Okay, so in this case, in the picture, you can see the deep large wounds in branches and trunks of the intact plant results in the formation of this callus tissue. Okay, and it is also known as wound callus. Okay, so remember that the main role of formation of callus in natural condition is generally to heal the wound. Okay, it is majorly involved in the healing process of the trunks. Okay, you can see in the picture. Okay, and also remember the growth of such wound callus is limited. Okay, it is very much limited. It is not going to divide constantly. It is for a limited period of time. Okay, this is the first condition, first natural condition where certain kinds of wounds causes the formation of these kinds of callus. In second case, there can be formation of callus-like tissue when the plant is infected by certain bacteria, virus or fungi. Okay, so the second natural condition is regarding the plant diseases. For example, we know about Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Agrobacterium tumefaciens is a bacteria which transfers some part of the genetic material into the host plant. Basically what happens, we know regarding this process, that the host plant when gets wounded, it releases certain kinds of attractant compounds, right? The chemoattractants causes the bacteria to attract at that site. Okay, and at that site the bacteria transfer its genetic material, some part of the genetic material that is also known as the TI plasmid, into the host plant. Within the host plant, what happens? Within the host plant at the site of entry, the Agrobacterium tumefaciens genes expresses itself. There is gene expression, and the particular gene which is involved in this infection involves certain genes which are involved in cell division. For example, auxin and cytokinin, right? So the auxin and cytokinin genes which were present on the genetic material of the bacterial gene is expressed in the host plant, and this causes the expression of the genes and production of auxin and cytokinin. What will happen? Auxin and cytokinin are going to induce the mature cells. Okay, the host plant is mature, right? So the mature cells are going to be induced by these kinds of products like auxin and cytokinins, and these are the products from the bacterial gene, okay, the bacterial plasmid. What will happen? Due to auxin and cytokinin, the mature cells are going to divide rapidly and it is going to develop into a tumor. Okay, and the disease is specifically called crown gall tumor. Okay, when the plant is infected by certain kinds of bacteria like Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Okay, so crown gall tumor is a callus-like tissue which is formed by the stimulation of cell division in a fully differentiated cells due to some diseases. Okay, so this is also one point which we generally study in genetic engineering processes. Okay, but I am considering here because I have mentioned two cases of natural condition. Okay, we are considering natural conditions which causes such callus-like tissue formation in nature. Okay, so now we will be shifting towards the laboratory condition, towards the in vitro condition for callus formation. So the principle or the in vitro callus formation we are going to study now. In this case, the callus important for plant tissue culture is produced experimentally from a small excised portion called the explant of any living healthy plant. Okay, you can take any plant and you can take any part of the plant to induce callus formation. In this case, the explants are cultured aseptically in vitro under controlled conditions, like you will have to consider a proper temperature, humidity, light intensity as well. You will have to use a sterile proper nutrient media which is fortified with specific phytohormones, right? So in this case, you can see in the picture, you have taken a small portion of the mother plant and you have prepared the explant, you have sterilized the explant and you have inoculated it in the culture media which is containing the phytohormones. After a particular time of incubation in the culture room, what will happen? The excised plant tissue, means this excised explant, will lose its structural integrity and it is going to change completely to a rapidly proliferative unorganized mass of cells which is termed as callus tissue. Okay, so this is what happens in the laboratory. After inoculation of the explant and after a particular time of incubation, you will see a mass of cells which you name it as callus. Okay, so this is what a successful callus induction means. Okay, now so the principle of callus culture, it involves generally three basic criteria. Okay, three important criteria should be considered for performing the callus induction. The first one is the aseptic preparation of plant material. It is important that whatever plant material you are selecting for callus induction, you will have to prepare it, means you will have to excise it at a particular in a particular size. Then you will have to sterilize it using certain sterilants and then you will have to inoculate it. The second point is the nutrient media you are selecting should be supplemented with the appropriate ratio of auxin and cytokinin. Remember, different plants and different part of the plant, different plant cells respond to the phytohormones in different manner. Okay, so for example, there is no specific concentration of auxin and cytokinin for induction of callus in every plant. Okay, it varies with plant response. Okay, it varies with the signaling process. Okay, the third point is incubation of culture under controlled physical condition. At what parameters you are setting the culture room is also important in this case. So whatever protocol is designed for a particular plant callus induction, whatever research papers are available now that you can use for your study, they have performed multiple trials. They have performed multiple trials and error method, and then finally they have come to an outcome with a specific phytohormone concentration with specific incubation parameter that is related with that particular plant they have selected for their work. Okay, similarly, if you want to induce callus in your desired plant material, you will have to work with certain parameter. You will have to use the auxin and cytokinin concentration at varying concentration. Okay, you cannot depend directly on a single concentration for the induction of callus. Okay, so remember this point. Moving on, next we will be discussing the steps. Okay, so there is generally four basic steps for the callus induction. The first one is it is very important to surface sterilize the explant in the plant tissue culture experiment. Then you are going to prepare the explant, means you are going to excise the plant material at in an appropriate size. Then you are going to inoculate it in the media and then you are going to incubate it. Okay, so if you want to see the handling process, for example, how to handle the plant material or how to excise the plant material, you can see different videos are available on the internet where they have demonstrated it directly. Okay, so now I'm going to provide you a specific data which you can use for the induction of callus in a particular plant, namely Clitoria ternatia. I have also mentioned the picture right here. Okay, you can use it as a reference. Okay, now the requirements are the leaves. You are going to require the leaves of the plant. Then second is you are going to require the Murashige and Skog media. Okay, I will try to make a separate video for the preparation of MS media. Okay, there is a standard procedure for the preparation of MS media. Okay, so you can go through that. Then the phytohormone concentration that is used for induction of callus is the auxin concentration, that is 2,4-D, that is 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid is the auxin which you are going to use in the concentration of 13 micromolar. Then the cytokinin that we are going to use is kinetin, which is used at a concentration of 5 micromolar. You are also going to require autoclave distilled water for the sterilization process, then sterilized forceps, cutters, and also sterile petri dishes. Okay, now we will be moving to the protocol. In this case, you can see first we have taken the young parts of the plant, okay, the young leaves of the plant. Okay, these are generally the young seedlings. And why we generally take young seedlings? Because they are already having a growth momentum. Okay, they are already having a momentum of growth due to the presence of certain meristematic cells. Okay, so you are going to use this. The first thing is you are going to sterilize the explant. So the sterilants that we are going to use it here is the first very common is the TPOL. You are going to use 5% TPOL solution. You are going to take the explant and you are going to immerse it in this solution for 2 minutes. After that, you are going to transfer it in 0.1% mercuric chloride for around 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, you will have to swirl the beaker constantly for the proper sterilization of every part of the plant material. After that, it is also important to sterilize it or to remove the traces of the sterilants using the autoclaved distilled water. Whatever water you are going to require at every stage of plant tissue culture, it is autoclaved purified water. Okay, so you can rinse it around 3 times in several petri dishes. Okay, then in the laminar airflow, you are going to cut the plant material in an appropriate size. For example, you can see the plant leaf is cutted in the square shapes. Why? Because for callus induction, we try to expose every side of the plant material to the media. Okay, for example, if you inoculate this using a sterile forceps into the media, you can see the square, every edge is wounded. Okay, every edge of the leaf plant material is wounded. What will happen? The phytohormones which are present in the media will give us strong response, right? Therefore, you can cut it either in square shape around 1 mm in size, or you can cut it in circle form as well. Okay, finally, after the inoculation under aseptic condition, you are going to incubate it for around 6 to 8 weeks at a particular temperature, that is 23 to 27 degrees Celsius, where the humidity is maintained around 70 to 80%. Okay, so this is a protocol regarding callus induction. This is what we do in every case. In every plant tissue culture protocol, this is what we do. The first thing is sterilization of the explant, then preparation of the explant, then inoculation. The difference in all the technique is only the concentration of phytohormone or what phytohormone you are using. Okay, in this case, you are going to induce the callus formation, and therefore we are using equal concentration of auxin and cytokinin. Okay, if you want to induce root induction, you will use auxin at higher concentration, right? Similarly, every technique varies with the concentration of phytohormones or the phytohormones. Okay, so now I hope you understood the protocols and the principles as well. Okay, now some points regarding the research perspective. I will mention the paper citation at the end of the slide. Okay, so the first thing is it was given by Hartman and his colleagues in 2002. They have stated that it is preferable to sustain callus farms by replanting the subculture every 3 to 4 weeks. For example, if you have successfully induced callus in your plant material, it is very important to subculture it at a particular interval. Okay, means around every 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, so you can see in the picture that the first callus, the first initiated callus, is subcultured in 3 different tubes composed of same media composition and same phytohormone composition, right? You will take small parts of this callus and you are simply going to inoculate it in this media. Okay, this is subculturing process. By balancing the internal hormones with the exogenous organization, the formation of branches and roots or both is controlled. You can use the subculture tubes for the induction of root, for the induction of shoot, or if you want to prepare somatic embryioids, you can do that also. Okay, so this is what most important thing is what kind of hormone you are providing. Okay, the hormone will give you that specific response which is concerned with that particular structure. Okay, for example, now I'm going to show you a small article, a small abstract from a research paper. Okay, in this case, Karami and his colleagues, they published a paper in 2008. Okay, so their work, they have stated that they obtained callus from cultivation of cotyledons, petals and sepals, and the plant they took for their work was the carnation plant. Generally, the carnation plant belongs to Dianthus species, you can see in this picture. The media they used is Murashige and Skog media, and the phytohormones they used were 2 mg per liter of 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid and 0.2 mg per liter of 6-benzyl aminopurine, which is a cytokinin. Okay, so until here, they have used three different parts of the plant, that is cotyledon, petals and sepals, and they induced callus in this plant by using this particular phytohormone concentration. Okay, I hope you are clear till this point. After successful callus induction, they used the petals induced callus for the induction of somatic embryos. Okay, you can see here the petals formed from around 80 to 85% of somatic embryos. From the petals callus, they induce somatic embryogenesis. Then they were transported to a hormone-free MS media containing a small amount of 2,4-D, around 0.2 mg per liter. Okay, so when we will discuss somatic embryogenesis, I will mention these points again in very detail. For now, what they did, they took three different parts of the plant, they induced callus at a particular concentration of phytohormone, then they induced the callus which were formed from the petals for the formation of somatic embryos. Somatic embryos are similar to the zygotic embryos. The only difference is here in this case we are going to use the somatic cells of the plant. In vitro, in the presence of certain phytohormones, you will prepare embryo-like structure named as embryoids. Okay, and you can induce these embryoids for the regeneration of entire plantlets. Okay, they are going to function in the very similar way as zygotic embryos work. Okay, so I have also taken the pictures from their research paper. You can see here. They got these wonderful results. Okay, for example, in the picture A, you can see the callus which were obtained from petal explant, right? And you can see the phytohormone concentration as well. The sucrose concentration they used is around 9%, and after 4 weeks of incubation, they got these results. Then in second picture, they used this concentration of phytohormones and sucrose concentration around 9%, and this is the results after 9 weeks of incubation. B, you can see the difference, right? There is more proliferation in part B or in the picture B. In case of C and D, you can see, in case of C and E, you can see that they have also taken the histological section of the callus cells, okay, for their study. In this picture, you can see the somatic embryoid. Okay, this is how the somatic embryoid look at its final state, the torpedo stage. Okay, then in F's figure, you can see the plantlet from the development of somatic embryo, means the somatic embryos were induced for the regeneration of plantlet. You can also directly induce the callus for the plantlet regeneration, or you can go through the somatic embryos for the regeneration of plantlet. Okay, on half strength MS media and sucrose around 3% with no phytohormones after, and the pictures are observed after 2 weeks of incubation. Okay, so this is a complete detailed data of their work. Okay, and finally they have also mentioned a picture on a potted plant in greenhouse. Okay, the same plant in greenhouse. Okay, so this is all about their results. Okay, so for a more detailed information, you can go through their paper. It is available on the net, and I'm also going to mention their citation. Now, moving on next, the question is how actually the callus tissue is formed. We have discussed about the uh, process, like the main role was performed by the phytohormone. But apart from that, the main thing is that the formation of callus tissue is the outcome of cell expansion and cell division. Right. During the formation of callus tissue, what happens? The explant, they loses their structural integrity. Okay, means the functionally coordinated plant cells or the mature cells have their integrity, right? Structural integrity. But this organization is completely lost when callus tissue is formed. Okay, and this basically happens in the influence of exogenously supplied phytohormones. Okay, so this is how the callus is formed. In this case, the cells not only divide, but they also undergo certain kinds of enlargements. Okay, that predominate to form an unorganized mass of cells. Okay, in this case, in this picture, you can see it very well. Right. Now, the second point that is also important in this case means how the callus tissues look like. So it is known that when we talk about the cells of callus, there is two different cells which you will see. The first one is composed of soft callus and the second one is hard callus. The soft callus is also known as fibril callus and the hard callus is termed as non-fibril callus. The soft callus, by its name, they are minimally compact and they are loosely arranged. You can see in this picture. Okay, you can see these are loosely arranged with large intercellular spaces. Whereas the hard callus, the cells in this case are densely packed and compact. It is known that the soft callus which is mentioned here, they are actively dividing. Okay, these are actively dividing cells, and therefore these soft callus or these soft cells are used in suspension culture. Okay, so they are generally used for the establishment of cell suspension culture, and in this case, cell suspension culture, which are population of rapidly growing cells in liquid media. Okay, in suspension culture, generally the media is in liquid form. Okay, what is the purpose? What means you can perform suspension culturing of the callus? If you want to study the growth parameter, right, the growth rate of the cell division, you can go through the cell suspension culture, right? If you want to study the cell viability, you can also go through this technique. Okay, because there is rapid multiplication and it is very easy to subculture these cultures. Okay, so this is one of the roles of soft callus. Moving on next, uh, different plant give different response, means different structure, different coloration in culture condition. Okay, for example, generally the callus is creamish yellow or white in color. Okay, but it has also reported that the white callus grown in dark the white callus grown in dark turns green after transferring it to the light condition. When in case of soybean, okay, means first you will observe white callus if you incubate the culture in dark condition, but when you will transfer it to the light condition, you will see the change in coloration from white to green. The green color basically develops due to the development of chloroplastids. Okay, the green color basically developed due to the development of chloroplastids in the cells of callus tissue. Okay, for example, soya beans, and specifically it is known that from the cotyledons, when cotyledons are taken as an explant for the callus induction, these results were observed. Similarly, Nigella sativa gives us yellow callus. Okay, the color in this case is yellow. Whereas in case of cauliflower, the callus color is purple in color. Okay, so now The yellow color basically is due to the production of carotenoids, okay, in the callus, whereas the purple color is due to the production of a pigment which is named as anthocyanin. Okay, so you can also use it for the secondary metabolism study. Okay, many times you will observe that there is formation of brown color callus. Okay, many times you will observe brown callus, and this is basically due to the release of phenolic substances. Okay, we know that the phenolic substances are generally oxidized, and after oxidation they forms quinone. Okay, and these quinones which are excreted, they simply polymerize, and the polymerization of these quinones leads to the brown color development, as we see in bananas, right? Bananas also undergo oxidation after a particular time into a brown color. It is also due to the oxidation of phenols, and due to oxidation the phenols get into the oxidized form, that is quinone. Okay, and now this quinone is going to polymerize and it is going to give you a brown product. Okay, so the formation of such quinones is responsible for the browning of callus tissue. Okay, and it is also reported, it is very important that the excretion of the phenols from these callus, they generally inhibit the growth of callus tissue. So it is very important to monitor your culture tubes at a particular period of time. Okay, it is very important. So these are the results, or this is the complete study which I have taken from different papers. Okay, you can see I have mentioned the research papers, different research papers, and a particular article. Okay, so you can go through this for a detailed study. I hope you like the video, and if still you are having any kind of doubt, do mention your doubt, and don't forget to mention your results. Okay, if you are working on a particular plan, don't forget to mention your results, because your results will also help many of the students to learn something, right? So, and lastly, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much.